Hello, my name's Jacob Glazner, and this is my Flying Wild presentation. So my flight plan or my trip for my flight is going from Houston, Texas to Fort Smith, Arizona. So this flight is 344 nautical miles. Anytime, so technically this is cross country, but with any flight like this, I like to create alternates along every 50 nautical miles of the flight so that anywhere throughout the flight, if I were to encounter a problem or if something were to arise, a situation were to come up, then I would always have different spots I could deviate to and bail off from the original flight plan to make it to a safe location to land. Say there's weather or something, I'll always have somewhere I can go to land on the ground safely. Fort Smith is located between the Ozark and the Wichita Mountains. I think that's how you say it, the Wichita Mountains. But so there is going to be various levels of terrain along the route. So elevations they can be anywhere from 10 feet differences all the way up to 250 to even 500 feet differences in between these different mountain ranges. So there definitely is going to be a altitude variation into this flight. So the aircraft I chose was the Cessna 42B. It has all of the specifications for it, like the engine power is 375 horsepower, max fuel is 255 gallons, stall speed's 86 miles per hour, 74 knots, range is 844 nautical miles. So we have the statistics on this aircraft. Anytime that you get into an aircraft that you don't know much about, always study up on that aircraft because you need to know how much fuel's in it. You need to know how far it can go before it needs to top off. You need to know the gas burn. You need to know all of these things so that it's like driving a car. If your odometer or your gas mileage says, hey, you have 100 miles till empty, you're not going to go on a 200-mile trip and not fill up with gas. You have to know what that car can do. You have to know what that aircraft can do before you go on a flight and, I don't want to say abuse it, but use it incorrectly, which can cause a serious problem. So let's just say we get 3/4 of the way to Fort Smith and you have engine roughness and the engine goes out on you. So first thing you want to do is the engine out procedure. Figure out which engine it is that has gone out because the propeller's still moving. You got to figure out which one it is. So engine out procedure, full power, reduce the drag. If you had flaps down, bring them up. If you have landing gear down, bring it up. Reduce the drag as much as possible. And then you need to identify the engine. So usually the roller yaw is going to go towards the dead engine. So what a lot of pilots go for is the dead leg method, and it's basically you just full rudder into the dead engine, and if it doesn't do anything to how the plane is reacting, then you go to the other rudder, and if the plane reacts differently, then you know which engine is in op for you. And then since we are going to be in a high elevation terrain compared to here in Houston, you're going to have to keep your eyes outside of the aircraft while performing all of these procedures. You have to make sure that you keep your eyes on the elevation and the terrain around you, and make sure that you're not going to go into a pole or something that's going to be in front of you. You have to keep your eyes outside the aircraft and make sure that the very first thing out of everything you do is fly the aircraft. You cannot stop flying the aircraft. And then with the engine out, we have engine out specifics between the rate of climb and the ceiling. So with both engines operative, your rate of climb is 1,850 feet per minute, and the ceilings are 31,000 feet. So I can go all the way up 31,000. Now, whenever one engine goes out, your rate of climb goes down 1,500 feet. So you're down to 305 feet per minute with an engine out. Your ceiling is also limited to 13,000. So your speed for the aircraft goes down by 50% and your performance for the aircraft goes down by 80%. So right here, I mean, that's 15,000 feet. You're at 18 and now you're down to 300. So just from one engine going out, you need need to find somewhere to land in. As I said earlier, having those alternates along your route that will ensure that you have somewhere close to you that you will be able to land and fix the problem that has arisen. Now, to remember, if you're ever going on a flight or going on a cross country, you have to plan. You have to go through every single part of that plan and make sure you know that flight like the back of your hand. You have to know where you're going. You have to know what you're going to see along the way just in case something happens. And then you need to know your plane specifics. So since I haven't flown this aircraft, I need to know every little detail about that plane, and I need to fly it at least a couple of times just so that I can get the feel for that aircraft before going out and going to some area I have no clue what's out there. I have no clue. So I need to get in the aircraft, need to figure out the aircraft before I go out and do these cross countries without flying the aircraft beforehand. Thorough pre-flight, make sure you got oil, make sure you got gas. That ties in with knowing the plane specifics. You got to know how much gas the plane can hold, how much oil it's supposed to have in it. You just have to know information about the aircraft to conduct a safe flight. And then you need to stay aware of your surroundings. So once again, we're going out to a place we've never been to before. You have to make little checkpoints along your flight, so that you can say, okay, oh, there's that lake. That was 15 minutes away from my departure. Okay, there's the lake. It's about 15 minutes after. And just kind of tally and keep logs of where you are within your flight, which really helps me all the time whenever I have little checkpoints to go along throughout a flight. And then keep your options open. So have those alternatives every 50 miles. That's what I like to do. And that always gives you a backup plan in case something happens. And then, as always, fly safe. Thank you very much.